Mia. Well, hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Today is going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be a short video because I'm not going to video a lot. I'm going to make it super basic because it's drizzly, it's nasty, it's cold. It's February 15th right now. We're going to do a pruning video. I'm in the muscadine vineyard out here by the chicken and quail pen and all. We're going to show you guys how we prune our muscadines. We have 34 plants, normally 36. I lost one this summer, and I lost one at the far end, one there and one at the far end. But we're going to go through and do some pruning, just sort of some little wintertime upkeep to get ready for spring. For you guys that have muscadines, you need to be pruning your muscadines. I see so many people that grow muscadines, and it's just a big carpet of vines. And every year that we don't get muscadines anymore, our grapes don't grow anymore. You got to prune them. You have to prune them every year. Outside of fertilizing, outside anything else, you need to prune your muscadines because your grapes will grow on your new wood. And they won't get no air, they won't get no sun, they just choke each other out. You just have to go through and do some heavy duty pruning. Muscadines can take a real heavy pruning. I'll show you guys. They get a little thick. These are 4-year plants, but they get a little heavy, and it can take a lot of time to prune them. We have this vineyard, we have 34 here, and I'm not sure over in the other. We'll put in, I think, 260 plants over there. We have like 5 rows that were planted a few years ago. We need to go prune in, clean them up. We're gonna do them first. But I can keep rambling. I'll talk more about it as I go, because I need to get started, guys. Today, we're pruning muscadines. Well, we're over here at the big vineyard. I'll show you guys a little overview, kind of. We're working on getting this whole pasture put in, but right now, we did this 2 years ago from here down, and we just started back this year, and we're finishing up everything over here. But from here down, we need to prune. The reason I'm starting over here, because these are smaller plants. You can see they're smaller plants. They're just smaller. I can burn through them real quick if a rain comes in. Show you a prime example of talking about, I said earlier, how your muscadines, your grapes grow on new wood. These are prime examples right here. These are where I cut last year. These forks right here, and you can see where the grapes came in off this new wood. You can see here. So you need to prune your muscadines. Here's one I left last year. And here's where the grapes came in. Well, I just fell off, but you can see where your grapes will come in on your new wood. So guys, if you have a muscadine plant that's been out in your yard or your parents' yard, I hear that all the time. My mom and dad has muscadines, but they don't get grapes anymore. If you'll take a pretty Saturday, go out there with a pair of shears, little hand shears, and clean your vines out. And I promise you, you can't kill these vines. You can cut them down at the dirt and they'll grow right back. The muscadines are super tough. They're super tough. But what you want is a nice, pretty, you want your one main stalk, and then you want to keep one main runner. And you'll just prune everything off about 6 inches, So some air, some sun can get in there and help these grapes grow. Also, you won't be overworking your plants, because these plants only have a certain amount of roots to bring up nutrients and water to help make the grapes. If they're having to try to pull water and nutrients from the soil to help a giant bush of vines grow, they're never going to put on grapes, because they're trying to keep the plant alive. Putting on grapes will be second to them. It's just keeping the plant alive is what they're actually doing. So the plant will stay alive, but you won't get grapes. And I've seen it at a neighbor of mine's house, and also we have another neighbor that he had a beautiful row. It was just beautiful, but it was huge, and you could tell he put some time in it, but just didn't know what he was doing. And he ended up digging up the whole thing. And I didn't talk to him about it, but I think it's because they weren't putting on grapes. He ended up digging up the whole thing, and he could have had a ton of grapes every year. But you have to prune your grapes. So guys, I'm gonna quit rambling and get this and try to knock some of this out. Hopefully we don't get rained on. want to show you again. Here's a prime example. You can see where we cut last year. We came in and cut last year, and there's your grapes. They'll grow out right here. You can see the cut mark. You have to prune your grapes. Guys, you can see all these this is where the grapes were at. These are where the grapes were at, where I made all these cuts. So you guys that have muscadines that are not getting grapes and they look like just a big giant bush, go prune them. You can't hardly go wrong. I'll show you guys. See all this? Here's where grapes grew. But this is what, I hadn't started on this row yet, but I'll show you guys this row. And this is what it looked like when you get it cleaned up. It looked just like that. So you can really get down on these things. What I try to do is you're supposed to leave about 4 of these little nodes on here. I went a little longer. But I don't go and count each individual node. See right there? I smashed my thumb. But you see right there? I don't count each one. I just go through because there's so much to do. I mean, I just go through and I keep them about 6 inches. That's basically my general rule. And let me tell you another thing. I've joined all these muscadine grower groups and stuff, and just like I did with the bees. And one thing I've learned, I'm 51. One thing I've learned, everybody does it a different way. And if you don't do it their way, it's the wrong way. I learned that a long time ago doing the bees. Everybody said you're supposed to, you do what you do. Do what makes you happy. Don't follow. Now you'll find, you'll tend to follow one person and see that it's working. If it's working, stick with it. Because I've seen one video. I went back and watched some videos just to see how other people are pruning theirs. I have seen one where one guy didn't leave anything on the bottom. He completely trimmed every single thing off the bottom and left all his up top. And that's great, but I don't do it that way. And once you start getting older, you don't like being told what to do. This works for me. I put on an absolute ton of grapes. These are only 2-year-old, my 2nd-year-old plants. They're probably 4 years old. I think when we get them from Mason's nursery, they're 2 years old. And they've been in my ground for 2 years. This thing was loaded with grapes last year. It was absolutely loaded. And I prune it the same way every year. You can see new growth right there. I do it the same way every year. So you do what you do. Don't listen to I guess you need to listen to some people to learn. But it aggravates me sometimes because when we were doing bees, we would get frustrated because we'd hear so many people say, you're doing it wrong. You need to be doing it this way. But we got honey every year. We were getting tons of honey. We're making splits. Our bees were growing like crazy. Same with the muscadines. I've had people tell me, you're doing this way wrong, you're doing that way. But I'm not a professional grower for one thing too. I'm a hobby grower. This is all my hobby. I just obsessed with it. So I just don't stop with it. I love it. I absolutely love growing grapes. And so you tend to try to listen to everybody and you'll pick up a little information from a little bit of everybody, but find out what suits you best, go with it. And you can't hardly hurt your plants. You can't hardly hurt them. And like I said earlier, you can cut them at the ground and they'll grow off. And the reason I know that because I hit one with my lawnmower one time and it grew right back. There's no problem. So I'm first-hand knowledge that you can take them to the ground and they'll grow right back. But I want to tell you guys another thing is this main vine will come through and you can see where I made a cut there. Anything growing off this main vine, you want to keep this main vine clean because you want your grapes up here. All this is just unnecessary growth. If you have vines shooting way out here, even during the summer, if you have wild vines, cut them off because you want that nutrients to go up and out. I'm sorry about that. I get so much stuff going through my head I want to tell y'all. And if I don't spit it right out, I'll forget. I may forget. But let me get to finish cutting these. And remember, if you have muscadines, this is the time to prune them. Prune them, prune them, prune them. Because if you won't get grapes. If you're getting grapes and hadn't been pruned, you go, hey, well, I hadn't been pruning my grapes. I still get grapes. Your day's coming. Because pretty soon that plant can only bring up so much nutrients to keep the plant alive. And it'll stop putting on grapes in order to keep the plant alive. So you'll have this big giant mess. It's easier to get your grapes through when it's all pruned up. But anyway, I'll keep rambling. Let me finish these next 3 rows so I can get on onto the bigger vines. That big crowded mess right there. Cut all this out. You got that one single coming out. You tend to want to keep all that, but I was looking for some nodes. I think I'm going to clean that middle one out. I'm going to clean that middle one out. I'm going to keep those. All right, guys, I'm gonna try to take y'all in with me. I got the GoPro on now. I want to take y'all in with me so you can sort of see how I'm doing hands-on right here. This is the end of our row. I try to clean everything up because it's going to take off this summer and just grow way outside the row. I just try to go in through here and cut some of this big mess out. Any dry dead wood you see like this right here, take that out. That's dead wood. You want to take that out. That's probably dead wood. What I try to do is it's just a thing I do. I try to clean it up right to the end. Clean it up right to the end. This is our main vine right here. This is our main vine. I always try to keep an eye on my main vine so I don't accidentally cut them. As the plants get older, you'll really know your main vine. It'll be huge. But when they're younger plants, I try to keep an eye on my main vine. This right here, that's dead wood. We want to cut that out. If you have anything coming off the plant that V's, I try to save that and I'll cut and keep a couple of nodes on each V. But any single runner, I'll keep as a single. Now, another thing you don't want to do is let everything get all crowded out, because you got to have room for your grapes to grow. Like this big mess right here, you're supposed to have a hand width between everything. So like this one here, I just cut that off. This one I may take this big one out right here. That way I got room for my grapes to grow. See how pretty that looks? Once you get that giant tangle mess cleaned out, I'll go ahead and take that one out too. But this will give you your plants room to put them big clusters of grapes on. You don't want a big tangled mess. And that's gonna look good. Here's some dry dead wood. Want to get that out. Any dead wood, take out. And I know you guys think, man, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work, because I've actually had somebody say that. Well, that's a lot of work. I'm like, if you love it, if you love the grape, gardening's a lot of work. You know, it's all a lot of work. But come spring and summer, or comes around September when these grapes are ready, it is so worth it. So worth it. And see how that's cleaning up real nice? That is cleaning up real nice. That's right there is going to hold a ton of grapes. Hopefully. But you just do like I do. You turn your radio on. Turn your little radio on and get at it. See how all these came out on that new wood from last year? Isn't that pretty? Just clusters and clusters of grapes. It's just wonderful. All right, well, it's the next day. I had to start over. I got rained out. I got almost done and the rain just came. It rained rest of the day, all last night. The cold air came in behind it. All you guys up north that are getting that cold air and all the snow and stuff, we're just getting all that cold air. We got a bunch of rain. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. I'm frozen. But I wanted to show you guys how this turned out. It really turned out well. And remember, these are, let's see, I planted them. These are our second year, going on our third year. This spring will be third year plants. And they turned out looking pretty good. And I cut them all basically about 6 inches. If you try to count every little node, it's just going to take you all day. So you just go through and try to keep everything about 6 inches. And what I basically try to do is any single vines, I cut them. I keep them single, of course. But anything that forks, I try to keep as a fork. Y'all see that? How that comes up, forks? And I try to keep that as a fork. That'll put on some real nice growth this year. Same here. If it forks close to the main vine, I'll keep it as a fork. You can see how I did that. Turns out really nice. That ought to put on a lot of grapes. And these are nice young plants. The ones we're going to do next are going on our 5th year. Going on our 5th year. And so you can see how I sort of left them about 6 inches. You can go back through later and you want everything, all these main vines, all these vines coming off, you want them about hand width apart. My first earlier plants, I don't really do that. I don't do that until they get a couple of more years on them. The ones that we're going to be doing next, I will do that to give space for the grapes to grow. You want room for your grapes to grow because they'll grow all the way down this vine. And if, say for instance, something like this, you'd have such a tight cluster, you'd want to take one of these out. But we'll talk about that later. Just a little pruning video. We're going to start on the main vines next, or on our older vines next. But that turned out looking pretty good. Really excited about that. Just another reminder. I can't remember what all I said yesterday. So just another reminder for you guys that have muscadines, and I hear it all the time. My parents have muscadines. That's the comment I get the most. Is my parents or my grandparents, my lips are frozen. My parents or my grandparents have muscadines that never put on grapes. I mean, they're just beautiful. Yeah, the leaves are beautiful. They put on a nice pretty row that are just beautiful that's not put on grapes. Because that main vine, it just can't get enough nutrients up to put on grapes because it's trying to keep the plant alive. It's just so overgrown. It's just trying to survive. But if you go back and thin that thing out, thin it out, those grapes will come on. I promise. And if they don't, you let me know. Then I'll tell you to add some fertilizer and some more water. But let's get over here to the main vines. We'll get started on these guys. Not sure if I'm gonna finish it today. I know I'm not gonna finish it today. I gotta get ready for work and I'm numb. I'm frozen right now. But anyway, let's go over here and I'm gonna start on these. Okay, well let's, actually a few days later, we've been getting rain and work and weather, and I have been so busy. It looks like I'm gonna end up having to do a row a day because we're back in the big vineyard, not the big vineyard, but the older vineyard, I should say. These are our older plants. They're going on, I think this is year 5. These two rows we put in the first year we moved here, and then the next year I put in these next 4 rows. And so these are a year behind, but I think I'm gonna end up having to do a row a day, or hopefully just do as many as I can, but I think today I'm only gonna get 1 row in. But I'll show you guys the difference in that row over there, that vineyard over there. This is just a big tangled mess. But you can actually see, I'll get up under here. You can see where I made these cuts last year. I had made all these cuts last year and all this new wood produced. I'd cut here and I'd cut here. Trying to watch camera cut here. But it's really hard to tell, but you can see this is one I left last year. Perfect example. I left this right here, I cut it. New wood came out. Grapes. Perfect example. I cut this one right there. You see that little thing that just fell off, and there's grapes came out right here. So all your grapes are going to grow tight. You want to keep this thing cut, get some sun, some air. I'm going to knock out this 1 row, show it to you guys, wrap this up. We're going on about 18 minutes now, and I'm not too into these super long videos. So let me blast through this real quick, and I'll show you the difference in these 2 rows. Okay. I finished 1 row. It didn't take about an hour. I've been sitting here, I listen to my little country music and sit out here and just prune away. But this is what it turns out looking like. And that looked pretty good. I missed one. I gotta come back and cut that. I got my clippers in my pocket. But every now and then you'll miss one. But what you do is you come and cut out all that long, gross looking mess. I'll show you the ones that I'm starting on next. You just come through it, just take your time and chip through it. And in order to give your grapes room to grow, you want about a hand width in between each one of these. So you'll give your grapes room to grow, because they'll grow in big clusters. They'll grow in really big clusters. And if you see something like this right here, see, I can come through here and I can prune that out. But you're not going to be 100% because you're trying to knock all this out. You just sort of pruning, pulling. But you can come through and really do a good cleanup. Say like this right here. I may take this little one out. But that looks pretty good. To the end, I just go straight down and cut. That way I cut this one off and I cut that one off. And let me emphasize, before I close this video out too, I'm not a professional grower. This is all my hobby. I'm obsessed with muscadines. I've always loved them. When we first bought the farm, I seen this little field here and I thought, shoot, I got enough room to put a couple of rows in. So I put these rows in. And then I said, wow, I got enough room to put 4 more rows in. So I put those in. And then we were talking about putting cows out in this pasture. And being a truck driver, I said, they will get out the first day I leave. I know it. So I wanted to do something different. I said, look, the muscadines are doing great, because this was the first year, second year. I said, they're doing great, super easy. You'll have one die occasionally. But I thought, what the heck? I'll spend the money, just start loading up out here in the pasture. And we'll just fill this thing completely up and hopefully open up a U-pick one day where I can have people come out and pick muscadines and pay me, and it'll be a little income later on in the future. And so far so good. So far so good. I absolutely love muscadines. They're just such an easy plant to grow. If you're down here in the south, they're just such an easy plant to grow. There's one other thing, I'm about to close out. One other thing I want y'all to see. If y'all ever see this, where you cut and you get water coming out of your vines. Now these vines store up tons of water. They store up lots. I'm falling backwards. They store up lots of water, and it's just water. It's just water. It's just water. They store it all up. You can see it's called bleeding. But as you start cutting, you'll see all these little droplets all over the place. Whenever you start cutting some big vines, when these things get real big, they'll be dripping. They'll just drip and drip and drip. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? That is really, really neat, isn't it? Let me taste that. Ooh, it tastes like muscadine. No, I'm just kidding. Absolutely a ball. See, like something like this. You can come through here and you'll see something where they crisscross like that. I don't like that. I'll come cut that out. I don't like anything to lay over or wrap around or crisscross, because it's just going to get bigger and it'll choke out your vine. So I'll come and cut that out here in just a second. I'll walk back and do a second inspection. But it's super easy. All you're trying to do is dial back a lot of that growth where that plant can pull nutrients up and easily put on grapes without having to struggle to put on grapes, because it's trying to keep that plant alive. Oak trees are the same way. I love to deer hunt. White oaks, red oaks, chestnuts, all that stuff. If they have a real bad year where they can't get enough water and stuff, they'll put on leaves, but they won't put on nuts, acorns and stuff. They just won't put on, because they're trying to keep the tree alive. So it's really pretty simple. You just have to prune every year. If you got muscadines and you have a huge carpet, if your parents have it, I hear that a lot, go in, turn your little radio on, and just chip away. Just come in here and cut and pull. You'll try to find your main vine. Keep an eye on it so you don't cut it. And just chip away at it. You can't mess up. You cannot mess up. There's no right way to do it. I don't think, at least I don't know of. But like I said again earlier, I watched one video, one guy cuts every single thing off the bottom and his grow up. There's a lady down the road, she's got some vines. I mean, they're this big around. She strips them clean. She strips them, she cuts everything off clean. That vine's that big around going all the way down. She gets muscadines every year. They just keep growing. But anyway, I don't want to make this video a 30-minute video. Guys, I love y'all to death. If you have any muscadine questions, shoot them to me. I'll do my best to answer them. If I can't answer it, I'll ask Ison's Nursery, or you can call Ison's Nursery. Guys, check out Ison's Nursery. That's where we buy all our plants. Go online, Ison's Nursery. Get you some muscadines. Right now is the time to plant them before the spring gets here. You can get you 2 or 3 plants and have muscadines forever. So go to Ison's Nursery, check them out, get a free catalog, order some muscadines. I'll keep rambling, guys. I love y'all to death. I'm just infatuated. I love muscadines. They're just, come September, You guys will wish y'all would have done it while I'm out here eating grapes. I love y'all to death. Do me a favor, subscribe, like, share. We'll see y'all on the next video.